Hello everyone, welcome to Rachel Pichler Yoga. Just in case we haven't met before, my name is Rachel. Today we're doing a nice full body flow, so find a little bit of space to move and let's get started. So let's begin today just sitting down. We're going to try to bring our fingertips to the ground in front of us. So sit however you need to sit. Turn your palms to face forwards. You can spread your fingers wide and then try to bring each fingertip, except the thumbs, to the ground. Their palms facing forwards. So that you can stretch your fingers, sending your thumbs out to the sides, maybe out wide as well. You can add a little bit of a pulse, or you can just be still here. Maybe one hand at a time feels better than two. Stretch your fingers, your palms. If you're lucky, you'll feel this all the way through your forearms, maybe even to your shoulders. If you're doing one hand at a time, switch. If you're doing both, let's stay just a little longer. See if you can send your thumbs out a little wider, stretching between that first finger and thumb. And then you can slowly start to let it go if you want. Might feel good to give your hands a little bit of a shake, maybe the fingers a little bit of a wiggle. We're going to come over onto our hands and knees though, do the same thing for our toes, our lovely toe squat. I like to bring my knees together, my feet together, lengthening through the bottom of each and every toe if you can. Help the baby ones get there if needed. You can keep some weight in your hands. You can push into your hands a little bit, sending your hips back towards your heels. Maybe sitting back, lifting your hands up to give your fingers a break. And letting your shoulders just soften away from your ears. What a lovely way to start the practice. Hard to stay thinking about anything else other than your feet. Take one more breath here. And if your hands are lifted, you can bring them down. You can come off of your toes. Maybe give them a shake or a little tap against the ground. But then we are going to tuck our toes under and lift our knees into downward facing dog. So if you can stay off of your toes, maybe you can be on the balls of the feet instead. You might actively lift your toes up, trying to drop your heels down. Push into your hands. Let your head be heavy. Take a nice big inhale and exhale. Do that again. A deep breath in and a deep breath out. One more time. Slow, deep breath in and let it go. Let your next inhale bring your gaze forwards. And as you exhale, walk up to the top of your mat. Once you get there, you can inhale for a half lift. And exhale to fold forwards. As you inhale to come all the way up to standing, reach up. Exhale, let your arms fall to your sides. Take a shoulder roll. With an inhale, reach up again, and exhale, folding forwards. Inhale, lift your chest just halfway up. Exhale to fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. Reach up, stand tall. Exhale, let your arms fall to your sides. Shoulder roll if you want one. And an inhale to reach up. Exhale, folding back down. Inhale into a half lift. And exhale to fold forwards. Inhale, find your way all the way up. And exhale, lower your arms down to your side. So let's stay standing. You might turn on your mat, but we're going to step our feet out wide with our toes pointing out. We're going to start to bend our knees and rest our hands on our legs. So you can widen your feet as much as you need so that you feel like you're opening your hips. You're in a really wide squat, and you might even start to sway side to side. You might even take your fingers and turn them to face down towards the ground. You can continue to sway side to side. You could start to drop the chest forward. See how that feels on the hips. Maybe making some sort of figure 8-like shape with shoulders. Maybe you'd rather be still or have your chest lifted. But if you are tipping forwards and swaying about, just start to slow down that movement of the hips. Just come back to center. Open your knees a little wider, a little push of your hands into your legs. If your chest is tipping forward, start to lift it up and straighten your legs as well. Turn your toes to point forwards. Lengthen your spine. Your hands might find your hips. You can start to tip. You can come halfway, keeping your hands on your hips. Kind of push your hands into your hips to send them back a little. You can stay halfway, or maybe your hands can come to the ground and you can keep tipping forwards. Maybe you even lift your toes up as you push into the balls of the feet, into the heels as well. And if your hands are on the ground, just slowly bring them back towards your hips. Push into your hips a little bit, the top of your quads a little bit. Try to send your legs back a little bit behind you. And then slowly lift the chest all the way up to standing. You can step or heel toe your feet back together. You might find the top of your mat if you did rotate like I did. But roll your shoulders back. Take an inhale as you reach up and exhale to fold forwards. As you inhale, lift your chest halfway up and exhale to fold back down. Plant your hands, step back and into your downward facing dog. Push into your hands. Maybe you're going to float your toes. Take a slow, deep inhale and exhale. Let your next inhale bring your gaze forwards. As you exhale, walk your feet all the way up to the top of your mat. Take an inhale for a half lift, and as you exhale, fold forwards. Inhale as you find your way all the way up to standing, and exhale, lower your arms down to your sides. So we're going to step our feet out, not quite as wide. Maybe mat width apart this time. But we're gonna bend our knees, our toes are pointing out a little bit. Your hands might be on your legs, but maybe they are in front of you this time. Find the deepest squat that you can find. Now your feet can be as wide as you want them to be. Maybe you get deep enough that the elbows can be on the inside of the legs to help them stay open. Maybe your feet are too wide for that. Maybe it's your hands like we were doing just before. Or maybe your squat's a little bit more narrow than this. And you just want to have your arms somewhere else. But find a squat that you enjoy, that's maybe strengthening your quads, or is maybe a nice hip opener, or a combination of the two. We're just going to start to find our way back up to standing. Take your time. Take your toes and turn them forwards. Maybe the feet will stay the same distance as they just were. Lengthen your spine, hands to the hips. Start to tip forwards. So if your hands are in your hip crease, your fingers, see if you can just push back on the hips a little bit. Kind of feels nice on the hips. You're not really moving anything at all. There's a little bit of pressure. Feels nice. Kind of keeps the hip open a little bit. As you maybe let the chest get heavy, you can stop halfway. Activate your core to help hold the upper body. Or you can keep going. Maybe your hands do come to the ground. Maybe you keep tipping forwards. Maybe you lift your toes up. But if your hands are on the ground, bring them back to your hips. maybe to those hip creases. Start to push into them a little bit as you slowly, slowly find your way all the way back up to standing. You can step your feet back in, take a shoulder roll, and then as you inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, take a half lift. As you exhale, fold. Plant your hands and take your feet back into downward facing dog. Maybe lifting the toes, pushing into your hands. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Awesome, you guys. Take another big inhale. As you exhale, push the ground away. Let another inhale bring your gaze forwards. And exhale, walk your feet to the top of your mat. Inhale for a half lift. As you exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, lower your arms down to your side. Shoulder roll if you want one. All right, you guys, you've got a couple distances of the feet to play with. If you want to join me, though, we're going to go out wide, maybe even wider than we started. We're going to bend our knees, both of them a little bit. We're going to start to sway side to side. Maybe hands on the inside of the knees, maybe fingers pointing down. Now we can play with Skandasana. If you want to start to bend one knee a lot and straighten the other leg, bring your hands towards the floor. Maybe you'll start to shift your weight over towards the left. Maybe you can tip forwards to bring your hands to the ground and then just kind of adjust your right foot, finding some length through the leg, kind of half a squat on the other side. If you feel like you can lift and balance, you can lift and balance. Maybe your hands are still on the ground. Now to switch sides, you can use your hands and walk them along the floor, or you could try to switch without any hands. But whatever feels good, wherever you happen to be able to balance, doesn't matter. Have fun. We're going to switch sides one more time and then come back over here. So hands, no hands, whatever you want. Whatever is working for you today. I'll be honest, sometimes I don't need my hands and sometimes I do. Just depends. Go back over one more time to the other side. Even it out. And then find your way back to center. Whoop. Back into maybe a nice wide squat, maybe fingers pointing down, maybe chest tipping forwards and swaying side to side a little, or kind of making a weird figure 8 like movement with the shoulders. And if you are swaying about, moving around, slow it down. Slowly lift the chest and straighten the legs and step everything back in together. Find the top of your mats. Roll your shoulders back and down. And as you inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forwards. Take an inhale for a half lift. And exhale, folding back down, planting your hands and step all the way back and into downward facing dog. Or where maybe you will lift your toes one last time. And push into your hands. Let your head be heavy. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more inhale. And this time as you exhale, lower your knees down. All the way. You can bring them wide. Big toes together. Send your hips back into child's pose. Melt your chest down your forehead. Soften your shoulders. Slow down your breath. Just notice how your hips are feeling, your leg. You can stay a little bit longer here if you'd like. Or you can start to lift up back and into tabletop. Take a little bit of a sway of the hips. We are going to sit down so you can cross your ankles. Take a seat. Cross-legged maybe. And maybe your hands can rest on your hips or even in your hip creases a little bit. Just that little bit of push down and almost pull back kind of towards the glutes. Pretend it's somebody else's hands in your hip crease. Push down and kind of pull back a little bit. Lengthen your spine and maybe tip forwards. And if you can keep that little bit of pressure on the hip creases, a little pull back, a little push down, kind of feels really nice on the hips. Now, if you're folding forwards, lift again. And if you're sitting cross-legged, cross your legs the other way. Hands, maybe it's just one finger that's tucking into the hip crease. A little push down, a little pull back, just if you want. You can skip this part. I forgot to mention that. You can definitely skip this part. It's like a self-adjustment though. Lengthen the spine, and then as you push back and pull down on those hips and tip forwards, bliss. Nicely done, you guys. Slowly lift. If you are folding forwards, if you're holding your lovely hips, let them go. Bring your knees together, maybe give them a hug or a squeeze. Rock side to side if you'd like. We are going to lay down on our backs. So come all the way down. Maybe your feet will stay on the ground. Maybe you'll hug your knees in towards your chest. But if you want to bring your feet out a little wider and keep them on the ground, a sway of the knees side to side with the feet wider, the knees wider, might feel nice on the hips. Just noticing your back against the ground beneath you. And if you do still have your feet lifted up into the air, you can start to bring them back down. And if you're swaying your knees side to side, just let our knees tip over to the left side, except you can move your legs together first. Tip the knees over so the legs are stacking, the hips are rotating, and you can feel a nice twist through your spine. Letting an inhale, bring your knees back up. They can fall all the way over to the right side. Stack the legs, rotate the hips. Find a twist that feels good for you. Letting an inhale, bring your legs back up out of your twist. Maybe your knees will end up back towards the chest or just keeping the feet down. But a couple extra sways of the knees side to side might feel good. Try to massage the low back against the ground a little bit. When it does feel good to do so, though, you can start to make your way into Shavasana, sending your legs out long, maybe your feet out wide. Same with the arms. And sometimes I and up off of my mat. Find a comfy place where you can relax your entire body. Just checking in with how you are feeling right now, in this moment. As always, I encourage you to stay here for as long as you have time for today. Thank you so much for joining me. And until next time, namaste.